The mighty magic round. Not everyone believes it's so magic. Most people do. So I kind
Yeah,
of go against the grain on this one.
yeah,
I feel like the magic dust is kind of wearing
yeah,
off.
yeah. I got the perfect name for it. Not so magic round.
Red Hot Underdogs rocking the night. Anzac and Tszyu bringing the fight. Talk about the game ain't just one side. Whistles blowing, sirens loud wide. Energy pumping, scheming plot. Nothing too small, nothing forgot. Boxing gloves and footy kicks. Sport and no
Three, two, one. Ching ching. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Anzac. With me tonight, the ever incredible, long contained, often imitated, never duplicated, Drewy. I think I forgot to say we're the Red Hot Underdogs. I'll just say
Hey,
it.
buddy, that's okay. That is true to our word. We're always a
Yeah,
day out and a dollar short, but nonetheless,
yeah.
welcome to the podcast that freezes at my end more times than Greg Norman in a major golf
Oh,
tournament.
yeah. And how can I have done this 68 times and I still can't get the introduction right?
That's okay. I think it fits in very well. We know our true identity
Yeah,
of ourselves,
yeah,
not only as individuals, but also as a podcast.
yeah, yeah. We know
Yeah.
where we stand, and it's you just got to have very low standards, and you'll be okay. Just keep your standards really low in life in general, Joey. Low standards.
Absolutely. So, talking of low standards, I think we should just dive straight into our low standards right
Exactly.
now. Not only dive into them,
Yeah,
lean into them.
yeah. Lean
So,
into not so magic round.
yes. So, I'll just quickly rattle off the scores for us
Yep.
before we unpack the not so magic round or magic round. It's debatable.
Yeah.
So, we had the Sharks 28 defeat the Eels 18.
Yep.
The Roosters 36 over the Dolphins 26. The
Yep.
Knights finally got another win on the board, smashing up surprisingly the Rabbitohs 30 points to 4.
Big win.
Warriors again are Warriors
Yep.
30 over the Cowboys 26.
Yep.
West Tigers go back to back 34 to 28 over the
Called it.
Dragons.
You
I
called it.
did call it, but I also caught a lot of losses in
Yeah. Yeah.
Magic Round, which wasn't so magic for my tipping, but I called that
You
one.
called that one.
Uh, the Mighty Doggies 38 over the Titans 18.
Yep.
Panthers 32 over the Broncos 8.
Yeah. They're back.
So
They're back.
they're back and off the bottom of the table. You can't really imagine them sitting on the bottom forever.
Yeah.
And there you can always imagine them having a good game. And the last game, which funnily enough, I think was actually the game of the Magic
That's
Round
great.
itself,
It was.
was Raiders getting it done over the Storm,
Yep.
20 points to 18 in Golden Point.
Golden point. And what a way to sum up the last game of Magic Round. And it was like a mud pull, that field,
Yeah.
more mud than field. And none other than a head high penalty that won the game. I mean, that's what we've seen so many of. And what a way to end it.
Yeah, it was actually interesting because you actually find that a lot of times in Golden Point,
Yeah.
the referees are too scared to blow that whistle.
Yeah.
You very rarely see a penalty goal in Golden Point.
Yeah.
It's more often not a try, but I think the most frequent way of winning is field goal.
Yeah.
So that
But
was a great game.
they said it was controversial. Are they saying the commentators like because I was putting together IKEA furniture, you know,
Yeah.
as I was watching the game and I just heard, oh, controversial. Like, are they saying that that was not a head high? Because it looked pretty head high.
Oh, look, I've got no problem with the penalty. I
Yeah.
thought that Canberra deserved the penalty and they deserved to win. There was another point of contention
Uh,
before the Golden Point whereby at 18 all the Storm actually did kick a field goal, but it was taken away from them and given a penalty to the Raiders because the player getting up to play the ball for the Storm, I believe it was Liero, put his forearm into the tackler's head who was on the ground,
Is
which was a
that
pretty
when,
stupid thing to do and
yeah.
actually essentially cost his side the game.
So is that when Storm had someone sent off and Raiders had someone sent off or no?
Yes, correct.
Okay,
Yeah,
I saw
I
that happen.
believe so.
I mean, I saw
I
this
believe that,
off. I didn't see why. So that's what the controversial thing was.
yeah, it was pretty much a game of four seasons in one day. It
Yeah,
had a little bit of everything. It really did.
yeah,
And if you're a Manly supporter, you'll feel some kind of heart in the fact that Manly are getting Jamal Fogarty next
yeah,
year, who is
yeah.
a
From Raiders.
halfback,
Yeah,
great kicker,
yeah.
and kicked the winning penalty goal. So he'll be coming across to Manly on a 3-year deal.
Okay,
The
so
Raiders
well,
tried to
well,
wrap him up for 2 years.
well, we needed a kicker, didn't we? You know, with Cherry.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
well, I guess Ruben kicks it, doesn't he? But regardless, he's a bit of a backup kicker. And so, who's going to kick it now? Ruben.
I'd feel more comfortable with Fogarty, I believe, than
Really?
Ruben Garrett kicking.
Wow.
But like people are sort of feel downhearted if you're a Manly supporter thinking that Cherry Evans is going. But as a Manly supporter, I'm actually quite heartened by the
Yeah,
situation. I think Fogarty is a great replacement, and I think he's good in different ways.
yeah,
So, okay, so he might not have the X factor and the flash of a Cherry Evans, but what he does bring is great organisation, a
yeah,
really deep kicking game,
yeah,
and solid fundamentals, which might be just as much what we need as the flashy stuff that DCE brings.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Well,
But
look,
time will tell, like anything.
time will tell. And you
Yeah,
said you thought that DCE was going to the Roosters, and it looks like that. Nothing's confirmed, but it looks
yeah.
like that's going to happen, doesn't it?
I would say so. I'm not sure if that's the best move for the Roosters because I know that they've got some really good halves
Mm.
moving up through the Roosters ranks. But I guess, people make their moves and boards make their moves, and it would appear that that's what they're going for. So we'll see what happens next year in that realm. The other interesting story coming out of Magic Round was the Broncos beat the team coming first last week and
Yeah,
lose to the team coming last this week.
yeah,
Classic case of absolute Jekyll and Hyde.
yeah, yeah. I just thought of that. They did, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah, they've literally gone from the penthouse to the shit house in one week.
And
Yeah,
like it feels like, everybody's playing at Suncorp, they're playing at their stadium. It's a little bit
yeah,
like if, there's going to be more Broncos fans than anyone, right? There should be,
yeah. Look,
no?
I know it's controversial. We mentioned here on May the 4th, Star Wars Day, that
Yeah,
the mighty Magic Round, not everyone believes it's so magic. Most people do. So I kind
yeah,
of go against the grain on this one.
yeah,
I feel like the magic dust is kind of wearing
yeah,
off.
yeah. I got the perfect name for it. Not so magic round.
Yeah, quite
Yeah.
possibly.
It's better than Brisbane round. It's better. It's just not so magic.
Yeah, I don't find it so magic. It's just a
Yeah,
whole collection of games being played in the one stadium.
yeah,
I tell you what, though, it might be magic if you actually go to the weekend of Magic Round and you're involved in the festivities. But from a viewing point of view at home, I think it kind of gets stale. I like to watch games at different stadiums.
yeah,
It feels like you're watching, okay, that one's done. Roll out the next one on the conveyor belt. All right, good. Off you go. In comes the next. And it feels like we've done it for the last 6 or 7 years. I feel it needs a fresh coat of paint.
yeah, yeah. What
I
what what if it
do
could
have,
move around? Do you know what I mean?
yes,
Like every year it goes to, Perth, Tasmania, like Townsville, like, all over. That would be pretty cool, right?
I'm glad you mentioned that because that's exactly what I was about to mention.
Yeah,
Only I have my own sort of plan for such a scenario. I think so. It should be held in Brisbane,
yeah,
Sydney, Melbourne,
yeah,
New Zealand.
yeah.
If you go around in that
And
cycle,
Papua
you
New
find
Guinea.
you get it every 4 years. No Papua New
No
Guinea,
Papua New
no.
Guinea.
We
What
don't
about
want we
what
don't
about
want any
Perth? I mean,
fatalities.
Perth. There's too much. In Perth. Perth don't need it.
You know what, to be honest, I think if it was in Perth, the general public would probably rock up to the wrong game. They'd end up rocking up to a Fremantle Dockers or a West Coast Eagles game and go, "Oh, sorry, is Magic Round in the other stadium?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because let's face it, NRL will still very much be like a grain of sand on the beach when it gets over there.
What about Tassie? Yeah, wouldn't it be good magic round in Tassie? I'd like that.
Nah, stuff it. Let's just keep giving them the short straw. It's too fun to keep giving Tasmania the
Yeah,
short straw.
yeah, yeah,
They are the little brother you pick on. They are the gift that keeps giving.
yeah, 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 yeah. All right.
But
So,
get it every
you,
4 years would be
you
good.
want to talk about any other games? Wasn't it nice to Manly not playing? Are you allowed to say that? Like, how
Oh,
relaxing is it
absolutely.
when you get a bye and you're like, okay, now you don't have to stress out this weekend. It's all about putting together IKEA furniture and kids' parties and all stuff like that.
It is nice, particularly off the back of a win the week before.
Yeah,
And it's also particularly nice because, especially when you know that your team gives you heart palpitations every time they play. They
yeah.
can never win easily or comfortably.
Hmm.
It's always got to go, you know, through the cardiac arrest procedures in order to either win or lose.
Hmm.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah, yep,
Yeah.
yep. All right. Okay, so rugby league. Want to keep talking about rugby league, or do you want to talk about different sports, Drew? What's on the Red Hot Underdogs agenda today?
I can confirm that the sport of boxing keeps on giving not
Yep.
only itself a black eye, but a little step up,
Yeah.
a bit of clout if you've got a certain name, a bit of nepotism.
Yep.
It would appear, I shouldn't be mad about it because I'm an Aussie, but it would
Yeah.
appear that Tszyu
Yeah.
is about to face Sebastian Fundora
Yeah.
for yet another world title shot.
Yeah, and we spoke about this. Who would have expected this to come so soon after two losses and one win off, like the win he got wasn't
Yeah.
that amazing. Was he a journeyman? Was it was he on his way out? But did it deserve him back at the top again? Like it's amazing. It really is. I think everybody's shocked it happened.
Yeah, but you probably shouldn't be so shocked because boxing has a way of giving itself black eyes and exposing itself for corruption. I'm not mad about it because I'm an Aussie,
Yeah,
so it suits us to watch him fight for another world title. But if this was any other fighter without the surname Zoo,
yeah,
he would not be getting that extra shot at Sebastian Fundora.
yeah.
We all know about the first fight. We don't need to relive that, the bloody head, blah,
Yeah,
blah, blah.
well, you can relive it a bit, but he got cut on the head, he got blood
Yeah,
in his eyes, and they should have thrown the town in and
yeah,
said, "Nah,
yeah.
it's this is a no contest."
Loses on points. That's right. He had the chance to bail out, but decided to be a gladiator and battle through it, which
Or
was,
he did, or his corner did.
I believe he did. I believe both did, to be honest. And I think that the fault really should lie with the corner because they can throw in the towel. They got the power to
Yeah.
do that, and
But
they've
you
got the power
remember, it
to
was
do it all the
wiping
time.
blood from his
Yeah,
eyes. Like,
yeah,
remember that? Like, that
yeah,
was it was huge, and
yeah.
I really think Tim Tszyu, um, it's just amazing he's given this opportunity again. It
It
is,
is
and
because yeah,
and
he's yeah,
I've told you this, but I think why this happened is not because, well, because of Tim, maybe a bit because of his name, but also I think Fundora is a
Mm.
top bloke and maybe knows that this was a bit of a fizzer fight and
Yeah.
wants to give to, because remember when he lost to Tim, he was like,
Yeah.
he said Tim deserved this win or something like that. Like
I
you know,
feel that he feels that he didn't get his just
yeah,
due. I never
yeah,
believe that he actually said that. He came out and said, yes, he legitimately won, which he did. I
yeah,
was surprised it was given a split decision. I
yeah,
thought it was Fundora unanimous all day long.
yeah,
I just think that he wants this fight again because he
yeah,
wants to prove to everyone, I don't want the excuses about the blood rolling into someone's eyes.
yeah,
I want to beat this guy again so
yeah,
you can all go away and I can tell you that I've beaten him twice, and the first time wasn't a fluke. But where I have a problem with
yeah,
it
yeah.
is he then loses his next fight in 3 rounds to Murtazaliev, and
Oh,
then
Timmy, yeah,
goes and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, Tim loses his next fight to
And like that one he got
Murtazaliev. Yeah,
this
he got
one he
smashed.
didn't get smashed. Do you know what I mean?
That's right.
It
So
really was something you want
yeah,
to see again.
that's right. And then he fought Mr. No Name Joey
Yeah,
Spencer, who
yeah,
fights the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker, and has a terrible bloody record. But look, you notice that he doesn't mention Murtazaliev's name,
no,
but
no,
because he got class out in 3. But so he mentions the one that he can possibly win, but he wouldn't get that opportunity against Murtazaliev because it would make no sense. Sebastian Fundora won. There is kind of a narrative
yeah,
to it,
yeah.
and
There's an
there is kind
argument
of
for a
a
rematch.
pathway to doing it again. Yes, but
Argument for a rematch, exactly. So it's happening again. I'm super happy for Tim. Like I really,
yeah,
really am. I'm super happy
mm,
for Australian boxing, you know.
yes,
This is great for Aussie boxing, you know, and people have short memories. They'll go in.
yeah.
Look, do you reckon he can win? Do you reckon he can win this fight?
I definitely think that he
Yeah.
can win,
Yeah.
but you know what? It certainly won't be easy because what that fight allowed Sebastian Fundora to do now in the past,
Mm,
people have got to remember this guy's a bit of a unicorn because in his division, he's
mm.
actually 6'6".
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's crazy. And
Yeah.
to boil down to that weight. So before then, Fundora used to sometimes give up his reach and have a bit of a scrap in there. But
Mm,
I think once the cut happened with Zoo, he started to use his jab a lot more. And I
mm,
think he started to use that a lot more since then too. So I feel that that will be a new game plan that he should have been using early and right throughout his career,
yeah.
but has neglected it for large parts. So if he installs that into his game plan, it'll make it a lot more difficult for Tim Tszyu. And a
Yeah.
lot of people just think that Zoo's going to be a walk-up start to win the
Mm.
second rematch. I don't know. I don't think it's as easy a cakewalk as everyone thinks.
What's Fundora done since beating Zoo?
He's fought one guy who was a
Ah,
nondescript opponent. So I know some of these boxers they either get far too much money
yeah.
or they just waste a whole lot of time. But you know what the problem is? It becomes the sport of business and the business of boxing,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
because like
But
one fight, and when was that fight? Like
and
it's a
you
year
know what
ago,
the
right? It like
and yeah, you know what the problem with these big time fighters? They let money and businessmen and promoters get in the way of fighting. And sometimes they have one big win and they think they've made it, so they should always make
would
big
would
money. But
would Murtazales wanted to fight Fundora? Why didn't that happen?
you know something?
Yeah.
Here's something that'll shock you. Murtazaliev still hasn't fought since he beat Zhu, which was in
Yeah, what?
July or August last year. So I don't know what the hell is going on with his career. If you're a boxing fan, it is very frustrating
Yeah.
because you might only get to see your favorite fighter fight twice a year maximum.
Yeah. Yeah.
They fight 3 times a year. That's an extra busy year for
Yeah.
them.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
But
Lou's fighting a lot. in
Yeah,
comparison.
which is good.
Yep.
And good luck to him.
Yep.
And it helps to have that surname.
Yep.
And apparently it opens a lot of doors.
Yep. No, it's going to be good. I really hope he wins. Let's
Mm,
just do a speculation. If and I know we're going to move on, but if Zoo wins, what's his
yes.
path? And if Zoo loses, what's his path? Maybe
Okay, well,
on underdog, something as useless as this.
that's right. Well,
Do if
originally
he
they
wins first. Do like if he wins, what's going to
I'll,
happen, Rui?
I'll do if he wins first. So originally No Limit Promotions were going to bring over the American Keith One Time Thurman
Oh, yep.
to fight Zoo next because they weren't expecting Zoo to be able to get a rematch for a world title fight.
Yeah.
They thought that was a far distant memory, had to work your way back.
Yeah,
So
but surprise for them. This is better. This is
that's right.
this is this
So
this is 1,000 times better.
correct. So what I think you'll find is these two will battle it out, and
Yep.
the winner will then fight Keith One Time Thurman.
Okay,
Because
so you think if Zoo wins, then
yep,
he'll be fighting Thurman in Australia,
yes,
and if he
yes.
doesn't, will he fight Thurman in Australia?
Ooh, if Zoo loses, I'm not even sure Australians will want to buy his pay-per-view.
Mm.
He might be fighting in the middle of the Corso.
Okay.
I mean, this guy might be fighting outside the
Who's
SCG in a
fighting the
car park.
seagulls for the chips? Give me that chip.
Yeah,
You know?
this every fight now for Tim Tszyu is boom or bust
Yeah.
because he had those couple of losses in a row, and because the win that he had back Joey Spencer is an absolute Neville nobody.
Yeah.
And if he loses three world title fights in a row, that's the key part.
Yeah.
Do you think people will be racing down to the pub to see him? You
No.
think they'll be calling up their mates, hey, let's watch Timmy, see if he can finally crack that world title with the fourth world title in a row. He's lost his last three,
No.
so that won't really sell. This is a must win.
Yeah. Yep. And he can do it. And we're going to watch it, Drewy, and we're going to cover it here on the Red Hot Underdogs. All right. So we got rugby league done,
Yeah.
boxing done, Tim Zoo.
Yeah.
There's more about boxing. What else you got up your sleeve or in your
Oh,
glove?
not too much more. All I will say is that Australian Justis Huni will be fighting in a few months
Yeah.
interim heavyweight world title, but
It was
that doesn't allow him to go straight into the heavyweight world title. As we know, plenty of politics to boxing. It just, but what it does do is it puts him at the forefront so that you will start to see him, if he does win, maybe
give
fight
a bit
some
of a rundown
big
on
names in the
Justice.
future.
Give us a rundown on him, because I mean, he was talked about a lot
Yeah.
years ago, and then there was nothing. So give us a quick
Yeah,
run,
so
Mooney.
is the next emerging heavyweight prospect from Australia. I
About
believe
5 years ago.
I
5 years
don't
ago.
know his record totally, but somewhere in the vicinity of 20 and 0 or
Yeah.
21 and I believe. He
Fought
will
Gallon.
be
Remember, he fought Gallon.
he
Yeah.
did fight Gallen. This was a very much an apprenticeship fight early on.
Yeah.
He'll be fighting England's Fabio Wardley, who also is undefeated.
Okay. Yep.
So that should be a ding-dong battle, and the odds should be about even.
Yeah. Okay.
And I will say this, it might be possible that Fabio Wardley might even be favourite. Actually, I know Fabio Wardley's got one draw, but I think that Wardley might be favourite, but it'll be there or thereabouts. So that's something for Australian boxing fans to look out for.
Hey, you know how people say, Fabio, the most beautiful man in the world, long blonde hair,
Yeah,
he's Greek
yeah.
and this body. Who is that Fabio? An actor or something? Or, like,
I think back in the 80s and 90s, he was an actor slash model. But I think he
okay.
was a model first, and
Yeah.
then he was in like a couple of D grade movies that don't even go to the cinema. They
Yeah.
just go straight to VHS or Beta
It's not
back
that
in
guy.
the day.
We're not seeing that guy, are we? That Fabio. We're seeing another
No,
Fabio.
no, different. That one, that Fabio would actually be very old and wrinkled now. He might even have a walking stick.
Yeah.
He would not be young
Yeah. Um,
anymore.
so Hooney's got the chance of his lifetime. Uh, Tim has the chances of his lifetime. What
Yes.
about old mate Jai
Guy
Opetaia?
Opetaia.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's fighting in a couple of months, and his fight will be
God, when are
to,
all of them? They're all in a couple of months. So we're going to have a
yeah,
lot of
it's
fights.
going to be a good block of fights. The opponent's name escapes me. He's a fairly nondescript opponent, but that will be for a title shot
Okay.
in by the end of the year against Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez, and
Okay.
that will be a humdinger of a fight. That'll be one to watch out for. So
Okay.
you'll get that tune up out of the way, and then we can all look forward to him in a title fight for an extra belt at the end of the year.
Yep. Sweet. Okay.
So
Right.
that'll be good.
That sounds good. Okay. Boxing.
Yes.
Hey? Boxing's back.
Back
Fighting.
boxing's back. So
And
go the Aussies.
there's another
Yeah.
one too that Dubois, the
Yeah, the
English
world
guy with the
heavyweight
French name.
title fight.
Yeah.
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 Alexander Usyk is stepping back into the frame. So
Yeah. And
uh,
why he, if anyone didn't need to, he
mm.
didn't need to prove himself to anyone, right?
Oh, I agree. He's
Yeah.
like 37 or 38 or something.
Yeah.
And so he's come off the back of back-to-back victories against Anthony Joshua and
Yep.
Tyson Fury. I would
Yep.
have thought that would have been the perfect way to
Perfect.
finish his career.
Yep.
He also completely cleaned out the cruiserweight division. But
Yep.
sometimes these guys like fighting so much that they just can't walk away from the game.
Yeah. Just that song, "Nowhere to Hold 'em, Nowhere to
Yeah,
Run,
yeah.
Nowhere
It's
to Run." Like he needs
I
to know where
do.
to
I'm
run.
Kenny Rogers. Yeah,
Usyk should have run. He should have been like, you know
he
what?
should have.
I'm going to finish on top. But does this Devois? Did he
Mm.
beat Devois or no?
He did. Now,
So
I feel
what?
there's a narrative to why he wants to fight him
Yeah.
again. This is a very interesting fight. So he beat him the first time. Usyk beat Dubois the first time in the ninth round. He stopped him. But there was huge controversy in the sixth round when Dubois did a shot that many believe was a body shot.
Oh
Probably
yeah,
about 50% of people believe it was a body shot.
yeah, yeah,
About 50% of people believe it was a low blow.
yeah, yeah,
If it was a body shot, Usyk stayed on the ground for a very, very long time.
yeah,
The referee gave him extra time to recover, extra breaths. He got 5 minutes to recover. A
yeah,
lot of people are very undecided on what it was.
yeah.
I'm feeling it might have been a body
Oh,
shot, but
10
even I'm
minutes to go,
uncertain.
cuz. 10 minutes. Yep.
So it's sort of like, I think something to silence all the controversy more than
Yeah,
anything.
yeah. Okay. But you know what? He didn't really need to. Like,
No, there's a narrative to it, and that's about it. If I was him, I'd just be retiring after that.
yeah.
So, yeah, so that's boxing for us. So, all
Okay. Well,
good.
do you remember which month, not date, but which month each of those four big fights are in?
No, I don't. You'll
No,
have to
you
stay
can't just
tuned.
say July, August.
July will be the Usyk and
Okay.
Dubois one. Yes. So
That's it. You
that's
only got one out of
that's
four.
all I got for you right now. I came in a bit unprepared, but
That's
check your
not
local
but
guide.
they're all in a couple of months.
The
So
good news is there's
yeah.
something called Google. Look it
Good.
up if you're
Yeah.
interested.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Dr. Google. You've
Hey,
saved the day again.
okay,
Yeah.
10 minutes to go. On this day or tips? Or I ask you that every
Yeah.
week and you say do on this day. I don't even know why I ask you anymore. Yeah,
So on this
on this
day,
day. Yeah, yeah, let's do it.
there was such little that happened on this day in world sports
Oh, okay.
that I had to look a little bit more locally.
Well, Star
So,
Wars Day, May 4th, May
yes,
4th. May the 4th be with you. Yeah.
so this might be the most underwhelming on this day we've ever had.
Okay,
But
sport related on this
yes,
day. Okay.
on this day, on May the 4th,
May 4th,
1980,
1980.
Helen Thorne, aged 85,
84.
won the Mount Druitt Ladies Singles Lawn Bowls tournament.
Good on
So
her.
well done to Helen Thorne back in 1980. Now,
How did she like? How'd she win in one of those ones where they just knock them out? Like you got details. We want some details on
absolutely. So
Helen.
there were at least 30 in the tournament,
Oh,
and
okay. Yeah.
I can confirm that she is no longer alive
Oh,
because that was 85. That was in 1980. So she'd be 125 now, I
yeah.
believe, if my
Yeah.
maths is correct. And the
Yeah.
oldest noted person recorded in living memory is
Yeah.
an Italian lady called Emma Marano
Oh, yep.
that died at 123.
Okay,
So
so definitely she's not alive.
we
But
do,
yeah.
yeah, we do tip your hat to
Yeah.
something that was a little less significant on this day in
Yeah.
sport was that on this day on May 4th, Steph Curry from the Golden State Warriors in the NBA was named MVP for the 2014-2015 season.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. I prefer the Helen Thorne
Yeah,
narrative.
just stick with Helen, man. Like Helen was much better.
So much better. So much better. So
Yeah.
I've
Lawn
also
bowls.
got a
We haven't talked
bias.
about lawn bowls in the Red Hot Underdogs yet. That's
No, so
lawn
well done,
bowls.
Helen.
Yes. Have you done lawn bowls, Drewy?
Yes, I was terrible at it.
Yeah, I've done it once too, and it is
Yeah.
fun though, isn't it?
Yeah, we did teams, and I
Yeah,
was so bad. I was actually the most valuable player for the other side.
yeah, 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 yeah. But
Not good at all.
they've done well how they've marketed it and they've promoted it as a younger person's sport and beers and the club and the
Yeah,
socializing like that's pretty cool,
absolutely.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, so it's good. I played lawn bowls a little bit.
Yeah,
Not really my thing though, to be perfectly honest.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
anyway,
yeah.
but that's
I've
all I got for lawn bowls.
I've quickly got a buy seller hold for you.
Okay, yep, yep.
Buy seller hold. The NRL should stop at 20 teams because that's going to be the plan.
Well, how many we got now?
Got 17. Then we're going to have then we're
Perth,
going to have Papua New Guinea
Papua
and
New Guinea,
Perth
Perth,
because that'll be the buy, and then we'll need to round it out with a 20th to stop the buy happening.
and what that going to be New Zealand or
Yeah, that'll be probably a South New Zealand side.
yep,
I'm actually going to go buy on stop at 20 teams
yeah.
because it's just going to be too hard to win a premiership.
Mm,
You think about it, everyone vies for a premiership. That's why
yeah,
you support your club, even if there's not much realistic hope.
yeah.
So I'm going buy on stopping at 20 teams. What about you?
Well, I do like it that it keeps expanding. I really, really like it.
So
Um,
you hold?
yeah, I just had a thought now. Is there any chance of like having like a Pommy team, play and like based in Australia? I was gonna like unfortunately you can't do it in Bondi
Nah, no,
because
that just does
that's where
not
the
work.
Poms are. It won't work.
Yeah, that does not work at
But
all.
they've done it for like it's happened in other sports, like
Yeah, it's too far away. Logistical nightmare. Not happening.
but no, 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 no. The Poms stay here.
Yeah, I don't like it.
You don't like
It's
it?
ridiculous.
Like,
Imagine if we had like the Canberra Raiders that were playing in the English competition.
no, no,
Bloody ridiculous.
no, no, no.
I know,
I'm
but they're staying
you.
over there. No, it's dumb.
No, not
I
like their teams coming here, but just like a new
Yeah,
one.
located in Australia.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm selling on that
Okay,
completely.
all right. Well, that's my buy, sell, and hold. That one. I just thought of it then. I just thought it was okay, but yeah, you're right. It's pretty crap. I do like I love Papua New Guinea. I love Perth, and I love a second team in New Zealand. I really think that's a good expansion idea
I
there.
think we should
Very good.
stop it at that one, to be honest.
Yeah.
And
Well, I think they will. I think they will because it's been a long time. Who's the most recent team? Okay, not including Dolphins,
mm,
the Cowboys, right? Is that right?
yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah,
that's 20 years ago. Like the
yeah.
Cowboys 20 years ago. Um,
Yep, they came in with the Warriors. So the
okay.
other one I've got is buy, sell, or hold.
Yep.
We should finally put a stop to the useless Commonwealth Games. Or do you want to keep that going? I think that's the most useless tournament in the history
Yeah.
of the world.
It is, but it's useful for those sports that 99% of people don't care about, and those 1% of people that are like, I love, high jump, do you know? And like, so they get a half decent competition. How often is the Commonwealth Games? Is it every 4 years? It's
I
like the
think so. I think it's time to put a knife through the whole thing. You know what? It's only good for Australians, making us feel as though we're so much better at sport than what we really are.
You know what? There's surprisingly a lot more Commonwealth countries than you think, Drewy. You know?
I know, but
Uh,
none of the good countries in the Olympics are in the Commonwealth Games.
yeah, but there's quite a lot of them. That's all I'm trying to say. Look, we got like 1 minute to do tips. Is that okay, Drewy? Because
Yeah,
this
yeah, let's race through it.
okay, race through it this Thursday in Parramatta. Parramatta play the Dolphins.
Oh, I shouldn't. It's the last time I'm going to go for them. I'm going to say Parramatta.
They're
I
the
know I went
favorites. They're
with,
just the favorites. Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
I'm going for Para.
Okay, Friday night, the early game in Newcastle, Knights versus the Titans.
Oh, this one's really hard, to be honest. I'm going to go the Knights.
Knights are the
They had
favorite
a
as well.
rebound win this
I
week.
like telling you who's the favorite after you've tipped. I don't know why I like
Yeah.
it. Later that night, Accor Stadium, Bunny Stadium, Bunnies versus Broncos.
Oh, Broncos.
So,
Even though the Broncos got hammered, I don't think the Rabbitohs are doing anything
oh, less than a
fantastic.
minute. We've got to be quick.
Yep.
Raiders versus Bulldogs on Saturday.
Ah, Bulldogs. Zero
Dragons versus
confidence.
Warriors on Saturday.
Warriors.
Cowboys versus Panthers.
Panthers.
Storm versus Tigers.
Storm.
And the mighty Miami Seagulls at home against the Sharkies.
Manly with no confidence.
Yeah, I can do that. That was good. We got it in, Drew. We got it
We
in. We
did
got it.
by a split second.
A lot of boxing talk. It was good, you know? It's
Heaps
nice
of
to,
boxing talk.
yeah,
Something
yeah,
different.
yeah,
We've
yeah.
kind of flooded it with NRL.
Yeah, magic round. It was magic. It was magic.
It was. It was.
Okay.
Sometime we'll get back to AFL at some stage.
Yeah, we've forgotten about it, haven't we?